In the spiritual world, fear is often considered a negative or a bad thing. We're taught to be ashamed of fear and to suppress, repress, deny, disown, and hide it away. But fear is merely an internal emotion and a tool to help us navigate the world. It helps us perceive, experience, and understand our external world internally. Fear is a good thing and not to be feared. Hi, I'm Liz Watt. Welcome to my channel where we discuss all things related to humanity, spirituality, reality, and individuality in a really practical way. If that's something that interests you, make sure you hit subscribe. Today, I want to explore fear a little bit deeper and think about why do we fear? What is fear? How fear is actually meeting a critical need, the danger of ignoring fear, and then finally how to embrace fear. Let's start with the question, why do we fear? Well, planet Earth is a reality based in polarity or duality, where everything exists on a spectrum between two opposites. This reality exists because Source consciousness wanted to know itself in every possible way. Source created the third and fourth dimensional realms of planet Earth to perceive, experience, and understand different contrasting aspects of itself in the physical. Because Source is everything, it is both light and dark, good and bad, and love and fear. Without the spectrums of light and dark, good and bad, and love and fear, Source can never really truly know the full extent of what it is. Now, to know something, you must know its opposite. You cannot know light without dark, good without bad, or love without fear. We're each an aspect of Source consciousness sent to planet Earth to experience ourselves as an aspect of Source. So we're constantly perceiving and experiencing our reality through thoughts and emotions. Now, from a spiritual, ethereal perspective, we experience fear as a way for Source to know one aspect of itself and expand consciousness. From a physical, temporal perspective, we experience the emotion of fear as a way to know if our physical body is safe in the external environment and if it meets our needs. In our physical human form, our most fundamental need is for our physical body to stay alive. Fear tells us when this is at risk. So what is fear? Fear is an emotion. Emotions are an internal set of sensations that are a response to an external condition. The internal emotion we experience is the same energetic frequency and vibration as the external environment we perceive. Good and safe external conditions feel good inside. Bad and unsafe external conditions feel not so good inside. So emotions are a way for us to energetically experience and understand our external realm internally. Fear exists at the opposite end of the spectrum to love. Fear is the absence of love, and love is the absence of fear. So to understand fear, we must also understand love. Love is acting in the best interests of something or someone. It's making sure their real needs are known, understood, validated, and met, and it's making sure they feel safe. So love is high vibration. If you want to learn a bit more about love, check out the link in the description to the episode, What is the Definition of Love? Now, opposite to love is fear. Fear is a low vibration emotion of dread and apprehension that alerts us to a potential threat and the possibility that something bad might happen. So let's talk a little bit more about meeting our needs. Being safe is being free and protected from the threat of risk, harm, damage, or danger, and it's a high vibration. Being unsafe is not protected from the threat, risk, or harm, damage, or danger, and it's a low vibration. So we experience fear when we encounter some kind of external condition that is physically, mentally, or emotionally unsafe, and it presents potential risk, harm, or damage to us. Fear exists when our best interests or needs are not being considered or met by the outside world. It tells you that something threatens your well-being so you can respond and act differently, and then make yourself and your environment safe. In the physical temporal realm, fear exists to help keep us safe. Fear is therefore a really good thing. It's not something to fear. Fear is an opportunity to consider the current situation or conditions we find ourselves in and why they are making us feel unsafe. Fear is intended to be a short-lived experience so we can respond appropriately and then return our body to a state of balance and safety. So there could be a really legitimate physical threat that is not acting in our best interests and not meeting our needs for physical safety. When a lion is running towards us or about to dive into a shark-infested tank, it's good to feel fear. It will prompt an automatic reaction to run and move or stop, step back and hide. Now, in some cases, there could be some other condition creating stress and fear that are prolonged or not so legitimately harmful. Either way, they're trying to tell us something. If you want to know more about needs, check out the link in the description to the episode 7 Essential Human Needs that Must Be Met to Thrive. So what is the danger of ignoring fear? Well, we live in a human-made world that is mostly unnatural, artificial, and misaligned with the natural world and natural law. So we constantly experience multiple stresses upon us, such as work, unread emails, study, exams, deadlines, mortgages, unpaid bills, sitting in traffic jams, social expectations and demands, government laws and regulations, and just the general nature of our busy lives in the Western world. Constant external stress results in internal emotional and mental stress. This makes us feel uncertain or unsafe and creates a sense of fear. So we are designed to experience short bursts of stress and fear so we can respond accordingly. When we live in a continuous and unconscious state of fear, actions and behaviors become those of automatic self-preservation to ensure we stay alive. We live in a state of survival rather than thriving. Our fear perpetuates this and keeps going until we choose to look at it. The problem with this kind of fear is that our emotions are telling us that something is wrong, but we cannot or do not do anything to change it because this is the way the world supposedly is. So living in constant stress, anxiety, uncertainty, and fear is definitely telling you that something is wrong. Fear always exists to tell us there is something to be looked at, something to be learned, and something to help us expand and grow. When we fear our fear, we may try to suppress, repress, deny, disown, or hide it. From a physical, temporal perspective, we may pretend it is not there or ignore the thing that feels unsafe because we do not want to face it or deal with it. However, ignoring or attacking a lion or a tank of sharks will not make them go away. To ignore the fear and keep running towards the lion or jumping into the tank may likely instead result in death. While death is not always the outcome, it's necessary to pay attention and understand what fear is trying to tell you. Now, from a spiritual, ethereal perspective, we may say that fear is just an illusion to focus on the positive and act from unconditional love. Now, this too is a form of escapism, denial, and disowning of fear. Because we are ethereal beings, we also exist in the physical. To focus positively would suggest a spiritually evolved person would continue to run towards the lion or jump into the tank. They would be able to transcend fear and change reality to make the lion and sharks move in the opposite direction. Now, to run away from the lion or not jump into the tank would supposedly be to let fear win. But in reality, in our physical world, chances are that to continue to run towards the lion or a tank of sharks will result in death. Fear is telling you there is something to be aware of and look at, not to ignore and overcome. The response is to consider what is in your best interests and meets your true needs. Now, this may go either way and may depend on the situation. So, for example, a dysfunctional relationship that makes you feel unsafe is not necessarily something to overcome, even if being alone makes you also feel unsafe. The most loving action for both parties may be to end the relationship, to keep you safe, and to allow the other person to see their role in the breakup, and for both parties to move on. To love someone or something unconditionally, let them treat you badly and ignore the signs that something is not right, is not evolved. This is not acting in anyone's best interests. To continue in a dysfunctional job, relationship, friendship, or lifestyle because you fear the alternative is not evolved. To ignore fear is not automatically transcending fear and acting from love. It is certainly not meeting your needs, acting in your own best interests, or acting from self-love. To ignore fear is not defying or transcending fear. Your fear exists as a natural and essential part of your human navigation system to tell you there is something to pay attention to here. To truly love yourself is to meet your true needs, act in your best interests, acknowledge and embrace your fear. If you want to know more about emotions, check out the link in the description to the episode, What Are Emotions and Where Do They Come From? Okay, so we know what fear is. We know we don't want to ignore it, but how do we learn to embrace it rather than fear it? Fear serves many purposes at different levels. From a spiritual, ethereal perspective, fear is an illusion and exists to help us expand. There's nothing really to be scared of. It's all there for a reason. But from a physical, human perspective, fear exists as a tool to keep the body safe. Fear exists to tell you there's something to pay attention to and a self-loving decision to be made. When you are conscious of your fear, you can make more considered and self-loving choices. You can act in your best interests and make yourself safe without escalating even more fear in yourself or others. You can move towards safety, ease, and alignment with natural law rather than further away. You can change your external physical conditions to change your internal perception and experience. Fear is not something to be ashamed of, condemned, or ignored. Fear is there to help. So take the opportunity to see it, feel it, question it, and understand it, so you can respond in the very best way possible. The choice of how you deal with fear is yours. I hope you enjoyed this episode. The mission of my channel and my work is to support the process of people awakening to reality, spirituality, and truth, and to do it in a practical, easy to understand way. So make sure you subscribe if this is something you're interested in. If you haven't already, check out my soul archetype quiz. In just a few minutes, you'll receive your major soul archetype report, which will start to uncover the essence of who you really are and your purpose for being here. The link is in the description. While you wait for the next episode, make sure you check out some more of my work either here or at lizwatt.com. I hope this got you thinking about fear and makes you realize you don't have to fear it. That's everything for today. I hope you found this episode interesting or helpful. Have a great day and I will see you next time.